Good morning. Happy Saturday. I'm excited for today. I'm gonna make whoopie pies. I think that's my plan. It's my goal. But today, first, before I cook, I'm gonna get into the Word and read one of my favorite stories in the whole Bible. Hands down, one of my favorite stories. I absolutely love this story in the Bible. Not even story. I hate the word story because that sounds not real. It's one of my favorite, It's one of my favorite passages in the Bible. We're going to read about Balaam and his donkey. And I love this passage. I just think it's so cool. So, all right, March 6th, day 57, I think. Balak sends for Balaam. Numbers 22, 1 through 20. Then the people of Israel traveled to the plains of Moab and camped on the east of the Jordan River across from the Jericho. Balak, son of Zippor, the Moabite king, had seen everything the Israelites did to the Amorites. And when the people of Moab saw how many Israelites there were, they were terrified. The king of Moab said to the elders of Midian, "This mob will devour everything in sight, like an ox devours grass in the field." So Balak, king of Moab, sent messengers to call Balaam, son of Beor, who was living in his native land of Pethor near the Euphrates River. His message said, "Look, a vast horde of people arrived from Egypt. They cover their face of the earth and are threatening me. Please come and curse these people for me, because they are too powerful for me. Then perhaps I will be able to conquer them and drive them from the land. I know that the blessings fall on any people you bless, and curse falls on any people you curse." Balak's messengers, who were the elders of Moab and Midian, set out with money to pay Balaam to place a curse upon Israel. They went to Balaam and delivered Balak's message to him. "Stay here overnight," Balaam said. "In the morning I will tell you whatever the Lord directs me to say." So the officials from Moab stayed there with Balaam. That night God came to Balaam and asked him, "Who are these men visiting you?" Balaam said to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent me this message. Look, a vast horde of people have arrived from Egypt, and they cover the face of the earth. Come and curse these people for me, then perhaps I will be able to stand up to them and drive them from the land." But God told Balaam, "Do not go with them. You are not to curse these people, for they have been blessed." The next morning Balaam got up and told Balak's officials, "Go on home. The Lord will not let me go with you." So the Moabite officials returned to King Balak. I feel like I have lipstick on my teeth. ADD. Hold on. Sorry. Train just totally derailed there for a second. So the Moabite officials returned to King Balak and reported, "Balaam refused to come with us." Then Balak tried again. This time he sent a larger number of even more distinguished officials, and those he had sent even more distinguished officials than those he had sent the first time. They went to Balaam and delivered this message to him. "This is what Balak, son of Zippor, says. Please don't let anything stop you from coming to help me. I will pay you very well and do whatever you tell me. Just come and curse these people for me." But Balaam responded to Balak's message, "Even if Balak were to give me his palace filled with silver and gold, I would be powerless to do anything against the will of the Lord my God. But stay here one more night, and I will stay here one more night, and I will see if the Lord has anything else to say to me." That night God came to Balaam and told him this: "Since these men have come for you, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you to do." Balaam and his donkey, Numbers 22, 21 through 41. So the next morning Balaam got up, saddled his donkey, and started off with the Moabite officials. But God was angry that Balaam was going, so he sent an angel of the Lord to stand in the road to block his way. As Balaam and two servants were riding along, Balaam's donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand. The donkey bolted off the road into a field, but Balaam beat it and turned it back on the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood at the place where the road narrowed between two vineyard walls. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it tried to squeeze by and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So Balaam beat the donkey. Then the angel of the Lord moved farther down the road and stood in the place too narrow for the donkey to get by at all. This time, when the donkey saw the angel, it laid down under Balaam. In a fit of rage, Balaam beat the animal again with a staff. Then the Lord gave the donkey the ability to speak. What have I done to you that deserves you beating me 3 times? It asked Balaam. You have made me look like a fool, Balaam shouted. Okay, first of all, that right there just absolutely kills me every time I read it. The donkey looks at Balaam and talks. What have I done that I've deserved you beating me 3 times? And Balaam doesn't freak out. He doesn't run screaming. He doesn't go, a talking donkey. He does nothing. He responds to him. You've made me look like a fool. I find that so funny. Why there's no sentence in there that says, first Balaam screamed and tried to run away. I don't know. I just find that hilarious. But I am sure... Let me see. Nope, I skipped a sentence. You have made me look like a fool, Balaam shouted. If I had a sword with me, I would kill you. But I am the same donkey you have ridden all of your life, the donkey answered. Have I ever done anything like this before? No, Balaam admitted. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes. He saw the angel of the Lord standing in the roadway with a drawn sword in his hand. Balaam bowed his face and fell face down on the ground before him. Why did you beat your donkey those 3 times? The angel of the Lord demanded. Look, I have come to block your way because you are stubbornly resisting me. 3 times the donkey saw me and shied away. Otherwise, I would have certainly killed you by now and spared that donkey. Then Balaam confessed to the angel of the Lord. I have sinned. I didn't realize you were standing in the road to block my way. I will return home if you are against my going. But the angel of the Lord told Balaam, Go with these men, but say only what I tell you to say. So Balaam went with Balak's officials. When King Balak heard that Balaam was on his way, he went out to meet him at a Moabite town on the Arnon River at the farthest border of his land. Didn't I send you an urgent invitation? Why didn't you come right away? Balak asked Balaam. Didn't you believe me when I said I would reward you richly? Balaam replied, Look, now I have come, but I have no power to say whatever I want. I will speak only the message that God puts in my mouth. Then Balaam accompanied Balak to Kiriath-Hazoth, where the king sacrificed the cattle and sheep. He sent portions of the meat to Balaam and the officials who were with him. The next morning Balak took Balaam up to Bamoth Baal. From there he could see the people of Israel spread out below him. I think that's a good lesson for all of us, is that so you have a goal in mind to do something. I want to buy a new house. But there keeps being a roadblock. And instead of having your eyes opened to those roadblocks and saying, wait, maybe this is the Lord putting a roadblock in my way. We keep trying and trying and trying because that's what we want. Well, maybe that's not what God wants. So maybe you need to open your eyes and be mindful of those roadblocks that are being thrown in front of you to your goal every step of the way, because I think that's how God works. He gives us these signs and these messages along the way saying, stop, not now, stop. But we just keep marching towards our goal. And then our goal isn't what we thought it would be because we didn't pay attention to those roadblocks along the way. My 2 cents, I don't know. That's just my thought. It doesn't have to be yours. All right, Balaam blesses Israel, Numbers 23, 1 through 12. Then Balaam said to King Balak, Build me 7 altars here and prepare 7 young bulls and 7 rams for me to sacrifice. Balak followed his instructions, and the 2 of them sacrificed a young bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, Stand here by your burnt offerings, and I will go to see if the Lord will respond to me. Then I will tell you whatever he reveals to me. So Balaam went up alone to the top of the bare hill, and God met him there. Balaam said to him, I have prepared 7 altars and sacrificed a young bull and a ram on each altar. Then the Lord gave Balaam a message for King Balak. Then he said, Go back to Balak and give him my messages. So Balaam returned and found the king standing beside his burnt offerings with all the officials of Moab. This was the message Balaam delivered. Balak summoned me to come from Aram. The king of Moab brought me from the eastern hills. Come here, he said, curse Jacob for me. Come and announce Israel's doom. But how can I curse those whom God has not cursed? How can I condemn those whom God has not condemned? I see them from the cliff tops. I watch them from the hills. I see a people who live by themselves, set apart from other nations. Who can count Jacob's descendants as numerous as the dust? Who can count even a fourth of Israel's people? Let me die like the righteous. Let my life end like theirs. Then King Balak demanded of Balaam, "What have you done to me? I brought you to curse my enemies. Instead, you have blessed them." But Balaam replied, "I will speak only the message that the Lord puts in my mouth." Balaam's second prophecy, Numbers 23:13-26. Then King Balak told him, "Come with me to another place. There you will see another part of the nation of Israel, but not all of them. Curse at least that many." So Balak took Balaam to the plateau of Zophim in the Pisgah Peak. He built 7 altars there and offered a young bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to the king, "Stand here by your burnt offerings while I go over there to meet the Lord." And the Lord met Balaam and gave him a message. Then he said, "Go back to Balak and give him my message." So Balaam returned and found the king standing. Did I just read the same? I did. I just read the same section twice. Ugh. So Balaam returned and found the king standing beside his burnt offerings with all of the officials of Moab. "What did the Lord say?" Balak asked eagerly. This was the message Balaam delivered. "Rise up, Balak, and listen. Hear me, son of Zippor. God is not a man, so he does not lie. He is not human, so he does not change his mind. Has he ever spoken and failed to act? Has he ever promised and not carried it through? Listen, I received the command to bless. God has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. No misfortune is in his plan for Jacob. No trouble is in store for Israel. For the Lord their God is with them, and he has been proclaimed their king. God had brought them out of Egypt. For them he is as strong as a wild ox. No curse can touch Jacob. No magic has any power against Israel. For now it will be said of Jacob, what wonders God has done for Israel. These people rise up like a lioness, like a majestic lion rousing itself. They refuse to eat until they have feasted on prey, drinking the blood of the slaughtered." Then Balak said to Balaam, "Fine, but if you won't curse them, at least don't bless them." But Balaam replied to Balak, "Didn't I tell you that I can only do what the Lord tells me?" I gotta take a little drink. Balaam's third prophecy, Numbers 23:27-24:14. Then King Balak said to Balaam, "Come, I will take you to one more place. Perhaps it will please God to let you curse them from there." So Balak took Balaam to the top of Mount Peor, overlooking the wasteland. Balaam again told Balak, "Build me 7 altars and prepare 7 young bulls and 7 rams for me to sacrifice." So Balak did as Balaam ordered and offered a young bull and a ram on each altar. By now Balaam realized that the Lord was determined to bless Israel, so he did not resort to divination as before. Instead, he turned to look out towards the wilderness, where he saw the people of Israel cramped, tribe by tribe. Then the Spirit of God came upon him, and this is the message he delivered. This is the message of Balaam, son of Beor, the message of the man whose eyes see clearly, the message of one who hears the words of God, who sees a vision from the Almighty, who bows down with eyes wide open. How beautiful are your tents, O Jacob! How lovely are your homes, O Israel! They spread before me like palm groves, like gardens by the riverside. They are like tall trees planted by the Lord, like cedars beside the water. Water will flow from their buckets. Their offspring have all they need. Their king will be greater than Agag. Their kingdom will be exalted. God brought them out of Egypt. For them he is as strong as a wild ox. He devours all the nations that oppose him, breaking their bones in pieces, shooting them with arrows. Like a lion, Israel crouches and lies down. Like a lioness, who dares to arouse her? Blessed is everyone who blesses you, O Israel, and cursed is anyone who curses you. Everyone who curses you. King Balak flew into a rage against Balaam. He angrily clapped his hands and shouted, "I called you to curse my enemies. Instead, you have blessed them 3 times. Now get out of here. Go back home. I promised to reward you richly, but the Lord has kept you from your reward." Balaam told Balak, "Don't you remember what I told your messengers? I said even if Balak were to give me his palace filled with silver and gold, I would be powerless to do anything against the will of the Lord. I told you that I could only say what the Lord says. Now I am returning to my own people. But first, let me tell you what the Israelites will do to your people in the future." Balaam's final prophecy is Numbers 24:15-25. This is the message Balaam delivered. This is the message of Balaam, son of Beor, the message of the man whose eyes see clearly, the message of the one who hears the words of God, who has knowledge from the Most High, who sees a vision from the Almighty, who bows down with eyes wide open. I see him, but not here and now. I perceive him, but far in the distant future. A star will rise from Jacob. A scepter will emerge from Israel. It will crush the heads of Moab's people, cracking the skulls of the people of Sheth. Edom will be taken over, and Seir, its enemy, will be conquered. While Israel marches on in triumph, a ruler will rise in Jacob who will destroy the survivors of Ur. Then Balaam looked over towards the people of Amalek and delivered this message. Amalek was the greatest of nations, but its destiny is destruction. Your home is secure. Your nest is set in the rocks, but the Kenites will be destroyed when Assyria takes you captive. Balaam concluded his message by saying, Alas, who can survive unless God has willed it? Ships will come from the coasts of Cyprus. They will oppress Assyria and afflict Eber, but they too will be utterly destroyed. Then Balaam left and returned home, and Balak also went on his way. That's it. That is March 6th. Oh, tomorrow looks interesting. It's the listing of all the tribes and their leaders and their ancestors. Hey, that'll be fun. Lots of fun names for me to pronounce. Okay, that's it for today. I love that story. I think I say it again. I think of how many times I've had a goal in mind and God clearly puts something in your way. A donkey that runs you off the road, or that flattens itself out beneath you, and you get angry at those roadblocks that are popping up in your way, and you beat those roadblocks, and you get mad, and why these roadblocks when I'm just trying to get to this goal? And the whole time, it's God making that donkey lay down, or God making that donkey ride off the road to take you from your goal, because that's not his goal, and his goal is the one that matters, not your goal. And his goal is the place you'll be happy, not your goal. Even though your goal is the one where you think you'll be happy, it's not. It's his goal. So if the donkey falls flat beneath you, thank God for it, because he's leading you towards his goal. Anyway, enough preaching. All right, I'm going to go upstairs, and I'm going to make whoopie pies. So I'm going to be live on this page again on Joyful Life, and I'm going to make zucchini bread whoopie pies because they sound amazing, and I have some zucchini. So, all right, you guys, I love you all. Blessed Saturday. Have a great day, and maybe I'll see you upstairs. All right.